morning. Welcome to the video. We're taking a little break from Mageddon because I just did a huge update and I'm dropping it on the playtesters. It's a lot to take in. I dropped them with a bunch of like weapon sigils and armor wars and wands and new spell books and more lore and locations and things that were already in the game. I just expanded upon. So I'm giving it a week so we can play test, so they can absorb the new updates and really get into it. So we're taking a little break. So I figured I'll spend a few minutes going over game systems that I am currently running or am about to run very shortly. Now I really want to start with the one that I'm doing a weekly sessions on a campaign that is Old School Essentials by Necrotic Gnome, by Gavin Norman of Necrotic Gnome. And I've talked about this in previous videos. It is really just a modernization and when I say simplify, I mean it's easier to find information. The rules, any ambiguity is kind of taken away and corrected. Everything kind of flows. It's laid out better in a more modern style. And it's because it uses the old basic expert rules from 1981 of Dungeons and Dragons. That's the Dungeons and Dragons that I grew up on. My mother actually bought for me back in 1981. That's the one I grew up before we get into AD&D. I have the box set, and it's modular. The basic box set comes with 5 books. Your core rules, which just has the framework. The genre rules, which covers fantasy. This is where you get your characters such as clerics and fighters, magic users. Also, the basic expert sets, and this carries that over, races or classes. So if you chose dwarf, that was not only your race, it was your class. All the other classes defaulted to humans. There were different level progressions. So like the XP wasn't equal to all classes or race as classes. You have a separate book for cleric and magic user spells. I like the modular because if you're at a table, you can pass them out to people who needed them instead of just everybody sharing one big tome. Of course, a book on monsters, treasures, and like I said, the core rules. Now, when I bought my set, Gavin was also taking some of the rules from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons and applying them to Old School Essentials, to the BX, in a way that didn't overpower. So he kind of made them fit and adapt to the basic expert rules. So he has the advanced genre rules. Yeah, and this opens up all the classes. One thing I love about this and the layout is that they utilize the end papers, which you see more and more modern role-playing games do. You will see Mageddon have in paper charts or tables once it goes in publication. It's just different tables. You have like racial abilities, score requirements and abilities, stuff that the player or the GM or referee DM can find real quick without going through the entire book. Anyway, so the advanced fantasy rules adds a ton of character classes like acrobat, paladin, ranger. Again, still racist class. You have drow and snuffblin and gnomes, but also has like illusionists. However, it has optional rules, and one of those rules is classes, character races, and then how they would fit into the different classes. It's real simple. There's never really more than a page on anything. The layout is sweet, a lot of bullet points, as you can see. Very easy to read, very easy to reference. I love this. There are some cons, and let's go over that real quick. Unlike more modern systems, there's a lot of dice. Like everything's not resolved by a d20. The thief skills uses like a 2d6. There's some d6 rolls for like listen at doors and other things. But there are some people have made some workarounds that you can easily Google. There are like 100% or D100 percentile dice rolls for those thief skills and on and so forth that are you can easily find on the web. It's people say it's more deadly. I don't know if it's more deadly. It is in a way. It also forces the characters to be more than the character sheets. There's not a rule for everything. They actually have to use their wits and think on like a lot of puzzles. There's no challenge rating, so it's really up to the GM to really convey without like flat out telling them you're not going to survive some encounters. It's very sandboxy, which I like. It gives more player urgency than story urgency, which I really like, and it's just fun. It harkens back to when I was growing up, and I have fond memories, and it brings those up while I'm GMing it. I also recommend the book. This is separate. It's written by Gavin Norman. You can get it for the old school essentials, or BX. Any of the OSRs is very easy to convert. Or there's a 5th edition version, which is a little bit bigger. I think this has like 24 pages. Yeah, 24 pages, not counting maps and end papers. I think the other one is like 40 because the blocks for NPCs and monsters and such are much more bigger for 5th ed than it is for BX or Old School Essentials. Anyway, Winter's Daughter, fantastic dark fairy tale vibe. We just finished running this for my group of OSC as a little separate mini shot. They loved it. I loved it. Awesome. So we're gonna go. Let me try to put these back in this box. Let's do this. They just had a Kickstarter, and I'm eagerly awaiting next month when I get all the new stuff in the actual separate tomes, so that way I can have the tomes and people can look at the modular versions whenever we get together. So that's Old School Essentials. I'll have the links down below. I don't know about the box set, but I know you can get the tomes, and I highly recommend it. 4 out of 5 D20s. So we talked about how 5e is a little bit different. So let's talk about the big granddaddy elephant in the room, and that's 5th edition. Oh my goodness. I say I'm currently running, but we haven't played since like before Christmas, 5th edition. But we do want to get back into it. OSC has been so much fun. We've been in play testing. Magic Eden has kind of put 5th edition on the back burner. But if you want to go into 5th edition, it's the most easily accessible of the editions, especially if you're a newbie DM or player. You have so many resources. Number one, the basic rules are free. You just go to the website, get the basic rules, and you're good to go. I think they just have pre-mades. Don't quote me on that. It's been a while since I looked at the basic rules. They may have some rules for character generation, but I think it's very limited. But then if you want to expand, it's very easy. There are so many resources. You have D&D Beyond, which can be free. You can just create characters there using the basic rules that are provided. If you want to build up, it's fine. The downside of D&D 5th edition is that it is a little expensive. Like these, if you want a DM, you got the Dungeon Master's Guide, you got the separate monster manual, and of course the ever prevalent Player's Handbook. And that's not even talking about the Xanathar's Guide, Volo's Guide, Mordekainen's, and Tasha's, which add new rules. So I mean, just the first 3 books alone is $150, and that's not counting all the others that you see behind me somewhere over there. I think it's right there. And then there's the campaign modules. If you're starting out, you can 100% use the basic rules, and then use D&D Beyond for your character generation. And what I would recommend, if you can get your hands on a starter set, I think they're a little bit harder to find, but there has a great introductory adventure called The Lost Mines of Handel. If you can't get your hands on that, there are several publications you can get. There's Waterdeep Dragon Heist, which takes characters from level 1 to level 5. Really fun. You can play it more than once because it actually changes depending on what season, the villains and their motives and everything else. Really cool. Be warned, not much heisting in Dragon Heist. We ran a little one-shot after this with the same characters. I had about 20% more heist than just that one adventure that I did in this dragon heist, but really fun. It's really quick. You characters get up to level 5. You can take them if you still want to play. You can take them wherever you want. I recommend Tales from the Yawning Portal. Again, it's just a ton of classic D&D adventures that have been modernized up to 5th ed or 5th edition. You can, if you want, kind of string them along and do like I did. I took my characters on a tour of classic D&D. I just strung them along and just put them where I felt like they should be in the current campaign, and we loved it. It was like I said, it was just called a tour of classic D&D. And then, if you want more of a seafaring, like you start with a one shot, if your characters like it or your players like it, continue on. Recommend Ghost of Saltmarsh. It gets that seafaring. Not a lot of ghosts in here. Seafaring adventure. I don't want to go too much. I'm currently playing. I'm not running this. I'm currently playing. So I really haven't read through it because I don't want to get spoiled while we're playing it. But we're almost done. So we've gone through a lot. I've really enjoyed it. And then something a little bit different. This can work for either OSC or 5th ed. Goodman Games has put out a bunch of these books called Original Adventures Reincarnated. This is Into the Borderlands, which is basically the Keep on the Borderlands, which was included in the basic set way back in 1981. It has both versions. It has the basic set, and then the latter half of the book is for 5e. So you can take either set of characters into some classic adventures. They also have Isle of the Dread, Castle Amber, Expedition Barrier Peaks, and coming out soon, Temple of Elemental Evil. Cannot recommend these enough. There's great essays written by those in gaming. They even have the old maps that were printed in blue because they didn't want people to Xerox them. Okay, that covers 5th edition. If you, I'm currently about to run this. I have not started running it, but that is Pathfinder 2. And it's funny because how Pathfinder started was because they said 4th edition is too much like an MMO. This is as close to MMO as you get in a tabletop role-playing game. And I mean that in the best possible way. It's how they handle character customization and character progression. It's also how they handle downtime and crafting. I absolutely adore this system. It strikes that right balance of crunch, complexity, and customization with very streamlined and ease of access. People say it's in between Pathfinder and 5th edition. I agree. I think it leans more towards Pathfinder than 5th edition, if that's all you played. But it's easy to grasp. It takes a second, but once it clicks, it really, really, really clicks. It's just different terminology that you have to get used to. You also have to get used to how your characters can be different. You can both, you and somebody else can have a gnome druid, but those gnome druids can be as different as night and day, just from the different customizations and ancestry and class and all the feats. It's really, really cool. And I'm fixing to start with a bunch of DMs that I know. And so we're actually, because we're all new to, I'm going to utilize the beginner box. And we're going to use that adventure in there, and I'll provide updates on this channel when I can. We're going to run it and see how we like it, and see if they want to continue and develop into something else. But I'm really looking forward to Pathfinder 2e. There's a ton of material. Again, it's got the same con as 5th edition. It's going to cost you a lot to get into it. But the cool thing is, this one book was all those 3 books from 5th ed. Except for the monster manual, there's not many monsters in here, but you can grab the bestiary for really this and the bestiary, so you're still coming out cheaper than you would for 5th edition to start with. Looking forward to Pathfinder 2e. And then last but not least, something completely different. I am running, this is the GM screen, which I recommend when you get spend the money. It's hard to find. It comes with the GM's kit, which comes with adventure and some other stuff. Usually it should be around $20, but some places I've seen it had it for like over 30. I don't know why that is. but that is Star Wars Edge of the Empire. I love this system. It's very, very, very... It has a steep curve when you first go into it, especially coming from like 5th edition and OSC and all that, because of the dice. But once you and your players understand the dice and how they work, the cinematic collaborative storytelling that bursts through that is compelling, and you just want to see more, and it's hard to stop. It lends itself beautifully to the Star Wars universe. Why Edge of the Empire? Because the story that I'm telling, or that we're telling, or that we're running through, takes place in Outer Rim 2 years after the second season finale of The Mandalorian. And it's playing on one of my favorite tropes, and that's the trope of a group of ne'er-wells are hired to extract revenge. And pretty much that's what they're doing. My little player group are ne'er-do-wells hired by a former high-ranking official of the Kralmora Syndicate, who wants everybody who was there or responsible for a twin sister's death to be killed. It's a little bit of Seven Samurai, Magnificent Seven, with Joe Abercrombie's fantastic book Best Served Cold, and that's exactly what I call this story, is Best Served Cold. Having a lot of fun. I will update. We've ran 4 sessions. One was a session 0 where we talked about it. Love it. I love this system. There's many more systems I would like to run, but I don't have time to go into all those. But those are my thoughts on the systems I currently run. I'll have links to everything down below. Find a system. If you have any questions about the systems and which one would be best suited for you, ask me down below. I'll reply as soon as I can. Other than that, thank you for watching. If you like it, subscribe. We'll have more Magigeddon next week, and then we'll have upcoming the ranking of the 5e campaign modules, which I think there's gonna be a little controversy in what's on what's ranked where, but you'll see why. That's about it. I appreciate y'all watching. I'll see you next week. Thank you.